quarterback who has a lot of talent and you waste their talent. I think Detroit has wasted Matt Stafford's talent with some really weak coaches. I think Houston has wasted Deshaun Watson's talent. They don't have a GM or really a full-time coach right now. And that's a real sin in the NFL. But I guess you could say it's not the greatest sin because Stafford and Deshaun Watson are really expensive. And that does limit other things you can do in your roster. The single greatest sin is having a great young quarterback who you're paying nothing for, and you're wasting him. And this weekend's a great example. I like Anthony Lynn. I've met him and I know him. And I do think he has some qualities, some alpha qualities, where guys like to play for him. But this weekend's a great example. The Chargers are an underdog at home to the Patriots. The Chargers have the better quarterback, the better pass rush specialist, Joey Bosa, the better wide receiver, Keenan Allen, 3 highly graded tight ends. They're at home, and they're an underdog. Cam Newton has 4 touchdown passes this year. Justin Herbert had 4 in one game, and not against a stiff. He did it against the Saints. Okay, in baseball, analytics have devalued the manager. In basketball, Frank Vogel was fired twice. He gets LeBron, he wins a title. The star drives the bus. But football's the coaching sport. We've seen Bill Parcells turn around 4 teams overnight. We've seen Urban Meyer do it in college 4 times. If you look at the division leaders right now in the NFL, what a shock. Mike Tomlin, Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, the highly respected young Sean McDermott. It's mostly great coaches. Many of the wild card spots are filled with really high-end coaches. Brian Flores appears to be really, really good. The Chargers cannot roll the dice with a coordinator here. You cannot be an underdog at home with Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa, Justin Herbert's talent, an underdog to the Patriots. By the way, what happens when you get a quarterback who's talented? On a rookie contract, Jared Goff got to a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson got to 2. Mahomes got to 1. Joe Flacco and Cam got to 1. The Eagles actually got to 1 because they were paying Wentz nothing and Foles nothing. The sin in the NFL, you've got a great quarterback. He's young, and you're not paying him anything. You do not roll the dice on coordinators. You got to go get a coach. Urban Meyer, Brian Kelly, Bill Belichick, whatevs. You got to get a coach because the Chargers should absolutely not be underdogs to the rebuilding Patriots this weekend, and they are. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Sam Darnold will likely be heading out of New York this season. This season.
Yeah.
He's not lived up to the expectations the Jets had for him with the 3rd overall pick in 2018, but Adam Gase is taking some of the blame for his development.
Oh.
I came here to help him develop his career, and we haven't been able to do that. We need to do things well, around him, but at the same time, it's on me to get him to play better than what he's played. And right so far, I haven't done a good enough job.
Sam Darnold hasn't thrown a passing touchdown in his past 142 attempts, which is the longest active streak in the NFL.
That's not great.
If he doesn't throw for a touchdown within his first 8 attempts on Sunday, he'll be the only player in the last 5 seasons to go 150 straight attempts without a touchdown.
And he has regressed badly this year, so it's either Darnold, which is possible, or it's the surrounding elements of the Jets, which I think is more probable.
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. Yes. He has been hurt a lot. It's not like Sam's been perfect, and he's in a situation that's just a disaster. Obviously, they don't have the players, or they wouldn't be in this situation. He doesn't play both sides of the ball, so it's not like they have this amazing defense who's able to keep them in games and the offense is blowing it. Like, they're not a great team. They're the worst team in the NFL by far, and we know that.
He's also very reckless, though. Some of these injuries are on Sam.
He's very reckless. They don't have a running game. He holds onto the ball too long. He puts his body in bad situations. And Adam Gase has clearly lost the locker room. You can tell by the way that they play, the ridiculous amount of penalties. They're just completely undisciplined. It's a disaster in New York. Yeah. So I think it's similar to what's going on in Philly. Obviously, it's not the same level of disaster in Philadelphia as it is in New York. But I just think there's a mixture of a lot of things that are all playing into losses.
And also, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the beneficiary here because they appear to have a real general manager. They're going to get a pick for Sam Darnold in a trade. They got a ton of picks for the Jamal Adams trade, and the Jets draft was good last year. The good players are playing. So Trevor Lawrence is going to come into a much better situation, and because he's such a great prospect, he's going to attract more coaches. So Trevor's already better than Sam, but the next quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, it's a much better position to succeed than Darnold. And he's better than Darnold. But I think Sam's going to go to a team like the Colts or perhaps a backup to the Steelers, which I don't think is a terrible spot for him either for 2 years to kind of reboot his career.
I think he's going to end up in a great situation because there are some teams who are not going to be able to get a high draft pick who need someone like Sam Darnold, who obviously has the potential but needs to be in the right situation to see if he can level up to that. Now, if he gets a year and he can't do that, then maybe we're all wrong about him.
Yeah.
But I think if he goes to a more functional situation with better players around him, he will be able to succeed, and he will likely end up, if he ends up with the Colts, it's an amazing situation for him. Even if Phillip Rivers plays another year and he has to sit behind him. That's a great situation for the Colts. I don't know if that's going to happen, but he's going to end up in a good situation. I don't think that the Jets are as bad overall, to your point, as it seems to everyone. Like, they're a bad team right now, but they have a million draft picks. They're going to get Trevor Lawrence, who, similar to Joe Burrow, I think is going to come in and immediately elevate the team. So Seahawks wide receiver Josh Gordon has been conditionally reinstated by the NFL for the final 2 weeks of the season. He'll be able to join the team on December 9th and take part in team meetings and individual workouts if he passes COVID protocol, and can return to practices on December 21st. He will then be eligible to play in the last 2 regular season games against the Rams and the 49ers.
I got to tell you, Joy, Seattle, between Carlos Dunlap, Jamal Adams being healthy, Josh Gordon and Chris Carson coming back, I'm not so sure this isn't... This Seattle team is really interesting suddenly. Really, really talented suddenly.
I've liked Seattle all year. My question was the same as yours. Is the defense going to be able to hold up? It's not the same as it once was.
Looks good in the last 2 weeks.
Sometimes we get caught up in the idea of what a team is because of what they have been for so long, and kind of forget that those players are not still there. And those players make up the DNA of that team. So they've completely redone their defense. They looked great. And I'm with you. I think this is a nice addition. I mean, they obviously aren't. This isn't a position that they're hurting at, but why not? Josh Gordon has amazing talent. If they can have him for the last 2 games of the season into the playoffs, it's a great situation for them.
We always know the worst month for Belichick has historically been September. So we know what you initially appear as, you don't necessarily end the year as. Well, like Belichick is 69, Pete Carroll's 69. These veteran NFL coaches do a good job to change certain narratives and truths. I think Seattle has done the best job in the league at finding a weakness and not only kind of bondoing it and Band-Aiding it, literally solved it. They have the most sacks in the league in the last month, 5 more than second place. So, like, Seattle's issue is not only no longer an issue, it has become kind of a strength over the last month.
And that's all we could talk about with them is, like, how are they?
They had no pass rush.
Able to get to the
By the way,
quarterback.
Tennessee never has one, and they haven't solved it. They still don't have one.
So this final story drives me crazy. So the Bucs suffered another early playoff exit this season, coming up short of their NBA title aspirations and expectations. And Coach Mike Budenholzer is not looking at this year as an all-or-nothing season. He said, "To think that a season is a championship or bust is certainly not the way we've approached it. We embrace the opportunity, and we want to be that last team standing, but the phrase is just something that doesn't resonate with me or, I think, our group."
Well, Giannis is young, but I do think I would say this. There is a sense around the league of a more urgency. Let's get to a finals.
I like Mike Budenholzer a lot, and I think they have a great culture there, and he's obviously a great coach. 116-39 with the Bucs in the regular season, 15-10 in the postseason, but they lost to the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they lost to the Heat in the second round in the bubble. Here's my problem with it, because this is what Mike D'Antoni used to do a lot of. It's not a championship or bust season. It's not a lost season if we don't win a championship. Okay, well then I don't want to hear about you guys are championship contenders then, because that's really not the expectations that you have. There's a reason why the Patriots are in the playoff conversation and Super Bowl conversation every year. That's the expectation. There's a reason why if the Steelers don't win a Super Bowl, everyone in the city is pissed. That's the expectation. There's a reason why Pat Riley loses his mind when the Heat are not competitive or making it to the finals or winning a championship. That's the expectation. We're not like here hanging out. This isn't like summer camp. We're like learning the fundamentals of the game. Sure, you're going to be consistently good, but are you going to win a championship? No. There's a championship mentality. There's an intangible to having that kind of urgency.
Yeah.
Like Paul George said it. This wasn't a championship or